Hey there, this is NatalieXHunter, author and weeb, here with another video about another great character from ReZero. Now, my list of facts here about Roswaal does draw on what we can find out about him from all of the currently available ReZero material, so the web novel and the canon side stories by Tappei Nagatsuki. And this means that it will have some spoilers for Season 2 and beyond in it, just as a warning if you're trying to avoid those. If you want something that's more of a catch-up of what you need to know about each character ahead of Season 2, then a good channel to check out is Sea Tactics. He's got a series like that going on at the moment that will give you those spoiler-free facts about what you need to know going into Season 2. Now, while I do have some spoiler-free stuff on my channel, personally, I feel like I've been keeping all this super interesting stuff from the web novel inside and not talking about it anywhere online for far too long. So in this series, I'm just letting it all out at this point. I just couldn't make it through the last, month before Season 2 comes out without talking about it all on YouTube in the end. So whether you're already way ahead of the anime and the story yourself, or you want to find out more about ReZero and its characters without the wait, thank you for joining me, and please feel free to discuss spoilery things in the comments for this video and any of my other ReZero videos that have the word spoilers in the thumbnail. So, Roswaal then. Definitely an interesting man. Well, he's usually a man anyway. Here are 5 facts about him. Roswaal comes from a long line of people who all shared the name Roswaal Mathers, though with a different middle name. It turns out, though, that they were all the same person. The Roswaal who was trained by the Witch of Greed Echidna around 400 years before the start of the story. Roswaal managed to find a way of imprinting his soul into his descendants, keeping himself alive through the generations. And yeah, this isn't hand-waved as being just fine and normal. It's supposed to be exactly as unsettling as it sounds in terms of lengths a mage might be willing to go to stay alive. There have been both male and female Roswaals, although the original was a man, including Roswaal Julia Mathers, who was the current Roswaal's grandmother. There have been some changes in Roswaal over the generations. His distinctive way of speaking wasn't present in what we've seen of the original Roswaal in dialogue from the web novel, and the way he speaks in his current form has been likened to the way the Warlock of Melancholy, Hector, who was Roswaal and Echidna's main enemy at the time and who badly injured Roswaal, is written to speak. There may be some clues in how these characters are directed to speak in the anime as to whether that is intended to be more than a coincidence, and we should see those two fight in Season 2. Note that Roswaal L Mathers doesn't currently have any children that we know of. This is likely to be because he hasn't been instructed by his gospel to take that sort of action yet, but given the upcoming events like the royal selection, which Roswaal believes will give him a chance to achieve his goal, it's likely that he expects his current lifetime to be his last. In Season 1, the only time we see Roswaal without his clown makeup is when he's taking a bath. However, in Season 2, we should learn a bit more about the meaning of his makeup, seeing that he stops wearing it when he believes his goals have finally become unattainable and kind of gives up on life. He then starts wearing it again when he finds motivation. When Subaru points this out, Roswaal tells him that his makeup is a form of war paint to him, that he wears when he's prepared for battle. Speaking of Roswaal's motivation, he has only one goal, and this is probably the most important thing to know about him, as it explains everything he does, when combined with the knowing that he also has a gospel that tells him how to reach that objective. All Roswaal wants to do is bring Echidna, his beloved teacher, back to life. That is the reason why he found a way to keep himself alive for this long. Whenever he's done anything hard to explain, including his backing of Emilia, his involvement in attacks on his own faction and mansion, taking in Rem and Ram, and his desire to kill the dragon, are all because his gospel, which is derived from Echidna's all-knowing book of the world, told him that those were the actions he needed to take for things to play out in a way that would lead to Echidna's revival. This is also the reason why Roswaal often doesn't help when he's needed, despite being powerful enough to solve most of the problems people around him face. He either doesn't act because it won't contribute to his goal, so isn't of any importance to him, or because his gospel tells him things need to happen this way to reach his desired future. He's absolutely willing to sacrifice anyone and anything if his gospel says so, even including those devoted to him like Ram, and those he should be responsible for, like his servants and the people who live in his domain. When it comes to Subaru, Roswaal believes Subaru needs to become like him and put Emilia above everything and anything else, and learn that he will have to let others die along the way to help her become king. Subaru can't accept this and is determined to save everyone he cares about, as well as innocent people like the villagers and the people of Sanctuary. The main conflict in Arc 4 really comes down to Roswaal trying to bring Subaru over to his way of thinking, and Subaru trying to make Roswaal believe that a future where everyone is saved is the only one he'll accept. It is pointed out several times that Subaru's noble-sounding goals are very much examples of his own greed. Roswaal is an extremely powerful mage, and while there are really a lot of strong people in ReZero, so the sense of just how strong he is can kind of get lost a bit, he was listed by the author as one of the characters who could take down the White Whale by himself, and about equal in power to Puck in his true form. When only magic, and not other things like authorities or divine protections are taken into account, Roswaal is the best in the land. He has affinities with all 6 magical elements: earth, air, fire, water, yin and yang, and he can also combine different types of magic to be able to do things like fly, and his special spell Ultimillion, which can control the weather. He has the titles of red, yellow and green, which mean he's the strongest user of fire, earth and wind magic in Lagunica, but not water. The title of blue actually belongs to Felix. Within the plot of ReZero so far, Roswaal is the only one who's figured out that Subaru has the ability to reset things by going back in time, though he's not entirely sure of the mechanics of it, and Subaru can't tell him more than he's figured out on his own. Echidna and presumably the other witches also know, but Roswaal is the only one who worked it out for himself. Roswaal, however, recognises that when Subaru resets things, the version of himself that he is at that time will not be the one who gets to see his ultimate goal being achieved, and this saddens him and sucks away his motivation to do anything, other than force Subaru to just get on with it and redo things. This, combined with Subaru's trial of the present, where he sees what might have happened in previous loops after his death, really plays on the idea that the dead-end worlds in Subaru's failed loops are still real hopeless places, that rather than rewinding time, Return by Death could just be moving Subaru into an alternate universe. Subaru doesn't really know whether that's the case or not, and neither do we, but it really adds to the dark feel of the story. What if all the bad endings Subaru comes back from really do get played out to their full conclusions in some reality, to some iteration of all these characters he tries to save? And on that nice, cheerful note, that's the end of the list. So what's next for Roswaal? He is in a strange situation in the web novel at present, with the gospel no longer there to guide him, and unaware that Echidna has actually already found a way back into the living world. He's not been a key player in the story really since Arc 4, but this by no means means that his influence on things has been neutralised by the way Subaru handled him in Sanctuary. As one of the most mysterious characters, and tied so tightly to Echidna, I think whichever arc Tappei chooses to bring Roswaal back into the foreground in will be one that will probably bring with it some of the biggest revelations in the series. And that's about it for this video. If you enjoyed it, please do the smashing of the buttons and the subscribing and all of that stuff. I really need you to do that because this is a new channel and I definitely need the love. You can also check out my own books, links are in the description, but as always I have to mention that they're on the steamy side, so you should definitely only check them out if you're a person of culture who appreciates a good harem, and definitely not if you're for some reason a child watching this. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.